Welcome back to the FriFunShow, July 28th, 2012. We're going to begin some in memoriam where we have several people dying recently, starting with Sally Ride, who was notable for being the first female astronaut in the United States to go into space, which was not the first person in the world to go into space, but was a Russian person who goes into space first. She died on Tuesday at the age of only 61 after she battled pancreatic cancer. Another person who died this week is John Adam Mills, a Ghana leader who ruled Ghana from his inauguration in January 2009 for approximately 4 years till his death on Tuesday. Not 4 years, 3 years. Sorry, I messed it up. He was 68 years old. Also, Chad Everett died at the age of 76 as a result of his battle with lung cancer, who was notable for starring Dr. Joe Gannon in CBS's Medical Center, which aired from 1969 to 1976. In some protest news, there's some recent protests in Anaheim, California. Early on a Tuesday night between a Tuesday night and a Wednesday morning of this week, as many as 500 people and 250 police officers were involved in a protest for 7 torturous hours, ending around 2 a.m. Pacific Time, 5 a.m. Eastern Time. The protest started out nicely and respectful, but all of a sudden, police were throwing rocks, bottles, batons, pepper balls, and beanbags toward the protesters. As a result, the police were able to make 24 arrests during the protest, and at least 5 people have got injured. Currently, the mayor of Anaheim at this time will reveal the 2 police officers throughout the weekend who were involved in shooting people and make a decision. Recently, one of the victims' mother speaks out a day later as a result of her son's death. So we'll keep an update on that. We'll have an update to it next week. Recently, North Korean ruler Kim Jong-un now has a wife, and her name is Ri Sol-jul. In some technology news, Apple has released their new operating system to the macOS line called OS X model line, where the Mac is removed from it for some reasons. But anyways, here's the story. Apple released a nice version of Mac OS X. As of that date, starting with Mountain Lion, Mac OS X will now will renamed indefinitely to just OS X. Unlike previous versions of Mac OS X, it includes features that is featured on Apple's mobile devices, including Messages, which serve as a replacement for iChat, which was featured on macOS versions 10.2 to 10.7. Initially, users will now be able to download apps and updates for it from the Mac App Store, which will also install updates for a certain Mac app automatically when it's released, if the user owns it, along with using dictation on the machine, just like the Siri feature on the iPhone 4 and the dictation feature on the iPad. System requirements for the OS X model line are as follows: 2 GB of RAM, 8 GB of free space. Computer must be running at least Mac OS X Snow Leopard version 10.6.8. The following Mac computers will support Mountain Lion iMac models that are built late 2007 or later, MacBook built late 2008 for aluminum or early 2009 or later, MacBook Pro built mid to late 2007 or later, MacBook Air built late 2008 or later, Mac Pro built early 2008 or newer, and Mac Mini built early 2009 or later, or newer / later. It's now available in the Mac App Store at a very affordable price of $19.99 US dollars. Upgrade time from online will take from as fast as just 13 minutes to as long as almost a single hour. It's up to you if you want to upgrade to Mountain Lion or not for your Mac. The power will always be in your hands. Basically now, Windows 7 is a great operating system for PC users and are waiting to upgrade to Windows 8 in October 2012. We'll see and wait if it's better than Windows Vista or is it just like Windows Vista. In some celebrity news, there's going to be a new person adopting the Jackson kids for like a little while. That's right, there's a new guardian that will take care of Jackson's kids since his death in June of 2009. TJ Jackson worked with his lawyer to file papers to become the guardian for Michael Jackson's children. He became notified when Jackson's mother, Katherine Jackson, has been out of the Jackson residence for about a week. TMZ said the 34-year-old married son Tito has had a strong connection to Paris, Prince, and Blake for years, but especially comforting after MJ died. Kim Kardashian was a hot celebrity who has been dating TJ for 4 years, now dating with Kanye West, said that TJ is a person who will be close to Jackson's kids and had a father-like relationship. However, Michael Jackson's mother, Katherine Jackson, was stripped of her guardianship for Mike's three children. In the near future, she could lose guardianship for her kids forever, along with her big loss of her money, and will hand over to TJ Jackson. Recently, Katherine Jackson has decided to split up with her guardianship with Michael Jackson's three kids with TJ recently. We have some other RIP news where Sherman Hemsley, who was known for starring All in the Family, The Jeffersons, and Amen, died at the age of 74 due to natural reasons. In other world news, Bo Exley, his wife has been busted. Here's the story. Bo Exley's wife, Gail Kylie, is charged for the murder of a British businessman in November of 2011, according to the Bloomberg Newsweek. Bloomberg Newsweek called Bo Exley the disgraced former party secretary of Southwestern China megalopis Chongqing. Sounds bad, doesn't it? Well, they have a son named Bo Guagua, who graduated from Harvard and Harvard Kennedy School in May. Additionally, he also attended Harrow School in Britain and later in Oxford University, where they seem to have financial issues with Haywood, resulting in Britain threatening the safety of Bo Sung. A trial will be held later, and the charges came after an architect from France, who was a former associate with Gru, and heard the opinions of the defense team. The facts of the two defendants' crime are clear, and the evidence is irrefutable and substantial, according to Xinhua. The prosecution for Gu could mean for him a resolution of a case still going on against Bo, who fell from power following the February defection of his former police chief. In other world news, we have some floods in Beijing recently, and here's the Earlier this week, China's capital Beijing has got a lot of rain recently. Authorities say 77 people have died in the monstrous Beijing storm, and according to Chrome.com, they say that some residents even compelling their own totals in a reflection of deep mistrust of the government handling the disaster. 77 people died in floodings were identified, with half of them found in the district of Fansheng, a rural community located in the outskirts of Beijing. As a result, the flood and drought prevention headquarters in Beijing provided condolences to the family of the victims and pledged that it would continuously sum up and reflect the lessons learned from the flood and improve the city's resilience against disasters, according to the city government. However, no death toll figures were reported since Sunday, the day when Beijing got drenched by that monstrous storm. We have some another disaster-related news, not dealing with another one in China, but in the United States, in the Northeast. On Thursday night, a storm system brought gusty winds up to tropical storm force winds at 70 miles per hour. Heavy rainfall to the eastern seaboard, bringing down trees, power lines, which leaves most of the eastern seaboard, except for most of New England, were without electricity in portions of New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. Additionally, a tornado was spawned in Everett, New York, according to the National Weather Service. Additionally, 2 people died in the storms, which were a woman camping near the New York state line in Genesee, and a man in Brooklyn's Cobble Hill neighborhood was killed when bricks and a scaffolding fell on top of him near a church, and numerous flights were canceled in the path of the dangerous storm. This dangerous storm was formed stretching as far east as northeast United States and as far west as the Ohio Valley. In some common news, the U.S. growth for the economy has been slowed down, according to returners. Economic growth slowed as expected in the second quarter as consumers spent at their slowest pace in a year, increasing pressure on policymakers to do more to bolster the recovery. Why is that? Well, the GDP explained only at an annual rate 1.5% between April and June of this year compared to last year, making the weakest growth since 2011 as a result of the drought bringing poor conditions to farms. First quarter growth of 2012 was at 2.0% from 1.9%. According to Josh Bivens, he said that policymakers must act to provide more support for the economy if they want to grow fast enough to start pulling sustained downward pressure on today's still too high employment rate, according to returners. Not according to returners. But according to returners this time, 2007 to 2009 recession is the slowest since the 1980 to 1981 recession itself was the deepest in the post-war period. Sorry I messed it up. In some political news, Romney is better for the economy, but there's been recent attacks on him. And here's a story. According to USA Today, Romney's background in business, including his tenure at the private equity firm Bain Capital, will cause him to make good decisions, not bad ones, in dealing with the nation's economic problems over the next 4 years. As a result, these raise questions on Bain Capital targeted by the current president of the United States, Barack Obama, in jobs being outsourced and blamed on Romney for his refusal to release his tax returns for more than 2 years. However, Obama is rated more likely than Romney as Obama understood problems America will be facing has an 8% advantage for Obama to be considered as honest and trustworthy. However, Romney has the ability to get things done. USA Today did a poll on the impact on the voters based on what they care about the future. Republicans and Republican-leading independents are much more enthusiastic about the election, an important factor in persuading supporters to vote. By 18 points, 51 to 33%, they report being more enthusiastic than usual about voting. In contrast, Democrats and Democrat-leaning independents by 4 points say they're less enthusiastic than usual by 43 to 79%. A record number of Americans expressed skepticism about the activist role of government. Obama espouses 61% say the government is trying to do too many things that should be left to individuals and businesses. That's the highest number since Gallup began asking that question in 1992. The Democratic attacks on Romney seem to have little effect on voters' assessment of him. In February, 53% said the former Massachusetts governor had the personality and leadership qualities a president should have. Now 54% do. Then 42% say they agree with Romney on the issues that matter most to them. Now 45% do. The poll of 1,030 adults Thursday for Sunday has a margin of error plus or minus 4 percentage points. Recently, Romney got into big headaches as several newspaper companies called Nick basically party pooper in the Daily Mail, nowhere man in the Times of London, and mid the twit in the Sun, and this is not what Romney expected. On Thursday, Romney was interviewed by Piers Morgan, where he said, "Well, I'm delighted to see that kind of support has been around the torch. For instance, I watched last night on BBC an entire program about the torch being run across Great Britain, and the kind of crowds. I guess millions of people that turn out to see the torch. That's what you hope to see." Additionally, on the Today Show, Ryan was asked about the controversy and said London is prepared for the Olympics. According to CNN, the outrage on London's preparedness when the mayor of London, Boris Johnson, gathered around a crowd of 60,000 British people to taunt Romney. Boris said, "There's this guy called Mitt Romney who wants to know if we are ready. Are we ready? Yes, we are." Looks more like more people worldwide will support Barack Obama than Romney these days. Alright, I have a joke for you guys. Why did a monkey go crazy? Because he ate too many bananas! Alright, well that'll do for the FriFunShow for this week. I'm FriFun, and I'll see you next Friday.